Previously on L Plays Gaming. We want to see some teasers, we want to see some screenshots maybe, or some hidden feature clues about stuff that we haven't been told so far. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to get that. Here we freaking go. What up, Jippers? LPlay's back once again to talk about some brand new No Man's Sky news. We have new images, as I predicted in the last Waking Titan update video. We've managed to solve some of the puzzles that I was talking about there. We'll cover that in more detail in a full Waking Titan update video that's going to come soon. But for now, I just want to look at this fantastic picture that we have been given as a result of solving the puzzles on there. So we got the link to this image through Waking Titan, and it very clearly is showing us new ship designs. What a freaking awesome tease this is, and I want to delve into this a little bit deeper today because I have got so many crazy exciting thoughts swirling around in my head at the moment, and I just want to get them out there. But most of all, I just want to make sure everybody has seen this image. So that right there on screen is the real image. That's the one that we unlocked through the link. Obviously people have been trying to unmuddle that, try and put it together, rejig the image to try and give us a clear picture of what we're actually seeing, and I think one of the best ones that I've seen is this one here. So if we take a look at this, this is just it's like my excitement right now is sky high. Like, this is just so freaking cool. It certainly looks like there's 4 different things that we're seeing here. What an awesome time to be a No Man's Sky fan. Right, let's dive into each one of these images a little bit more. So when I first saw this, when I first saw the original image, I was kind of looking at it. People were trying to piece it together. I think they were like trying to overlay the left and right ones there into like one ship and stuff. And when I first saw them, it was weird because they don't look like they certainly didn't look like freighters to me when I first saw them. I took one look at that, and obviously on the original image there's little sketches and notepads and little points pointing to various different points on all of these ships. So the first thing I thought straight away was this is 100% a multiplayer thing. These are co-op, co-pilotable, team-based ships, vessels, freighters, whatever they are. It's something that you can like crew up with your co-op friends and play and like pilot together, like people manning the guns, people flying the ship, people navigating, all of that kind of stuff. And man, that is a crazy exciting thought. And like, I've been thinking about it quite a lot since, and I'm still thinking that, like, the more I mull it over, the more I think about it, the more I look at this stuff, I'm still getting that impression from it. There's a lot of different gun turrets on these images. There's a lot of different points that are highlighted. It certainly looks like there's going to be so much going on with these vessels, these new ships, these new freighters or carriers or whatever they are, that having a team of people pilot it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I can definitely see that. That's kind of speculation number 1. That's my first thing that immediately jumped out to me when I saw this. Definitely looks like co-op piloting is going to be a thing in No Man's Sky next with these new vehicles that we're going to get. So that is very, very freaking cool. And then the second thing that jumped out to me originally when I saw this image, I think I was just seeing like the ship that we see there, the 2 versions of the one on the left and right there. I think I was just seeing like that sort of vessel originally. And when I first looked at it, I thought this doesn't look like a full-size freighter. Obviously, the thing we can't really get from this image is the scale of these things. Like, we've got no idea what size that is. And what's really interesting, actually, is if you look at the 2 top ones, they've got the little dip. If you just look at the top there, they've got that little like dip bit that goes in that really makes it look almost like a seat. And I've seen a couple of people saying they actually think this isn't a big freighter or something like that. It looks more like a land speeder or something like that. And that is quite interesting, and I could certainly see why you would think that. But I think the fact that there's a hangar door open at the front there probably gives you an idea that it's got to be much bigger than that. But that would have been cool. But I guess we've got the Nomad for that as well. So that was like the other thing I thought, no, I don't really see that myself. But that is one of the things that's going around, and it was kind of interesting to think about. But for me personally, when I looked at this, I thought these were kind of more mid-sized ships, right? So we know we've got our own starships in the game, you know, our personal ships that we fly around in, the little shipper jippers. We've got freighters in the game that we can own as well, and we can dock our ships and all that kind of stuff in. What we don't have, and this is going to be like especially useful if we can like squad up, that's the other thing, right? We know now because of the Xbox store page, it's been confirmed on there that 2 to 4 player co-op is in the game. So for anyone who missed that, the Xbox store page now has the game on there listed. You can't pre-order it yet, but there's some information about it. They're using old boilerplate template text that we've seen a long time ago, so I wouldn't take the little text description to be a clue of what's coming in next, and they probably update that again once we get closer to the launch. But certainly on there, one thing that is confirmed is 2 to 4 player co-op. So let's talk about that a little bit before I go into my theory on these ships. So the first thing, people start getting worried, oh, we can currently now, like in the game, we can see 16 people at a time with the orbs. Why are they changing it to just 2 to 4 players? What I think is going to happen here, and again, this is my theory on it, I don't know this, I haven't got any solid concrete information to prove this, so don't take this out of context, but I think 2 to 4 player co-op is very much just the squad based gameplay. So think of Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is probably the parallel that I'm drawing most from at the moment because it's recent, and the model of that is very similar in terms of what I'm thinking multiplayer might look like in No Man's Sky. So I think we will be able to squad up with a little team of up to 4 people. So you've got 4 friends that you'll be in an actual party with. There'll probably be some sort of dedicated voice chat party system there just for you 4, up to 4, you know, 2 to 4, whatever it ends up being. That can actually like run around and do stuff together. You'll be an actual team. You'll probably be able to see each other on the map or something, or be able to locate each other easily. There'll be like stuff that you can do and interact with and accomplish as a little crew and a little squad. Now, I don't think that means you're only going to be able to see up to 4 people. I genuinely believe that you will be in your little squad, your little co-op party, your little team, but in the world, you'll still be able to run across other players. I really think that is going to be how this works. So, you know, like in Sea of Thieves, you can have your team of 4 people on a ship or whatever, but you can still see everyone else. And I think that's going to be closer to what the next update is going to bring us in terms of multiplayer. Based on what Sean was saying, you know, like the fully fledged multiplayer, the large scale space battles, being able to find random people, all of that kind of stuff, like it just feels like we're going to be able to wander around the world and see everybody else, but the co-op thing will just be like squad based party play for up to 4 people. That's my take on it. That's what I think. I'd love to know what you think about that. Do you agree, disagree? Put that in the comments and we can definitely talk about it some more. There might be other stuff that I'm missing around that, but yeah, from my perspective, that's how I think it's going to work. Now that ties in perfectly to these ships, and you've got to be careful because obviously we're all thinking about multiplayer, so we might just be projecting that onto the ships, but for me it fits perfectly. Like looking at this, the points being highlighted almost as like little indications of like one player would be controlling this bit over here, one player would be controlling the turret, one player would be piloting the ship kind of thing. That's what I'm getting from this. So I think in those little co-op squads, those little parties that are in the game, you'll be able to like pilot ships together. And I think what's really interesting with that is how's that going to work on a planet if you're all in your own separate little starships. It's going to be easy to lose each other. It's not really going to feel like you're working together and doing stuff. But if you've got some sort of mid-sized ship that can potentially be flown around, so smaller than your mega freighters and stuff like that, but something you can pilot either in space or go down into planets with, just like your regular starship, but for 4 people. And that's what I think these 2 top images that we're looking at potentially could be. I think it's going to be an in-between, so it's not your single independent little ship that you fly around, and it's not the freighter that you'd all go back to, but it's the kind of vessel that you would like take out. So you deploy it from your big freighter, you'd be 4, like, you know, 2 to 4 of you in there flying it, go down to planets and like fly around on a planet piloting this one vessel. That's the kind of idea that I've got looking at this. Could be completely wrong, but that's kind of the take that I'm getting whenever I look at it, and the more I think about it, like that just makes so much sense. You'll all be able to go around together, you'll all be working together, and that will give a real big like emphasis on that co-op and multiplayer and team working. If you're actually working together to pilot a ship and do stuff like that, it's going to give it a lot more meaningful interaction rather than just being able to see each other. So I think that's what these 2 ships personally are going to be, and that has me really excited. Like the idea of me just like flying a ship and someone at me like shouting commands to someone else, being like shoot on the left, on the left, on the left. Like oh, that just sounds so cool, and I really hope that that is what it's going to be. And then of course it's got the little hangar bay, so you can put your individual ships inside it while you take it down to planets or out in space or whatever, so that if you do want to break off into your little groups or fly out independently in a battle or something, you can still do that as well. So yeah, that's That's what I'm thinking when I look at this, and I hope that that is something like what we see, because that would be super cool. So now let's move on to the big one, this absolute colossal monster of a freighter looking thing below that. And this is really weird, because when I first looked at this, I was like, the shape, like the the design of this makes it very much look like a boat. It looks like a big naval carrier ship or something like that, right? With the flat top, like floating platform cutting through the waves. Like, that's the kind of sleek design that it gives off. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be in the ocean because of where the turrets and stuff are placed. It doesn't really look like those turrets underneath it for underwater. It looks much more likely to me that this is going to be another type of freighter, a much bigger freighter perhaps that we have in space. And again, this might be the kind of place where you would dock those mid-sized ships, you know, so you have your little ships going inside those mid-sized ships when you take that out as a little party, and then you can go back to like the mega freighter to keep that there or something like that. Or like this would be the leader of the fleet kind of ship. That's what I'm getting when I look at it. Either way, it's a new design. It looks super freaking cool. It definitely looks bigger than the others, but that's one thing again that I mentioned we have to kind of be careful with. We don't know the scale of these things, right? So this image that I'm looking at the top left, like that could actually be 5 times the size of the bigger looking freighter below it, and it could just be the way they've sized the image to show us. We don't really know how big these are going to be in the game at the moment, so it's kind of hard to tell. But that's the kind of impression I get. 2 mid-sized ones, the bigger freighter, and then this thing underneath is super interesting. Submarine, some sort of underground vessel. If I was gonna guess, I would probably have said submarine from looking at this. But one thing I did just want to kind of point out before we get like too excited about that, because I know there's a lot of you like me that really want a submarine in the game, and if they are doing that, that probably gives us a clue that there's a lot of other improvements that are going to be made to things like oceans and ocean exploration. But let's not get into that. That's a bit too tinfoily for this particular video. But one thing I did just want to point out, when I first saw this, I almost didn't even think about that as a new thing, and that's just like a warning that I want to say. So if I go back to the original image here where it's all scrambled up, when I first saw that thing in the bottom, that personally to me looked like a bridge deck, like a desk type thing, you know, where like it looks like there's a little top of a chair there, it looks like there's a little computer screen, almost like a futuristic sci-fi desk or like command center that would be at the front of a ship kind of thing, like a terminal, I guess. That's what I first thought when I saw it. So that could just be that. It could be an indication of like showing us what the deck inside the ship might look like, you know, your Star Trek bridge or whatever. You've got your little crew in there, and that would be like the commander terminal where all the controls are and all of that kind of stuff. That definitely could be the case. But that said, when I look at it in this other image where people have kind of pieced it all together a bit better, I do kind of see the shape and the outline making it look a bit more like it is an actual vessel. So yeah, I mean, that could be either of those things. It could be something completely different. I'm still unsure about this one, and I think it's not helping because I really want a submarine. Like, I really want a submarine, so I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm wanting it to be a submarine. But there is definitely a big part of my mind that's thinking, actually, I think this looks like a desk. It looks like a terminal, you know, it looks like the little central point command center that you'd have inside one of those bigger ships, and that's just giving us like the inside view of that. But I don't know. That said, I mean, all of these other bits of the pictures are just vehicles. They're ships, right? They're either freighters or like bigger ships or something like that. So maybe it's a little bit weird to then just include the inside of one of them. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's hard to tell. What do you guys think? Do you think that's a little submarine or some other little vessel, or do you think that is a desk inside one of these bigger freighters, like the little command center? Either way, whatever any of this is, it's definitely new stuff, new content, new designs, new features that are going to be in the game, and I'm excited about all of the possibilities that this could have just from a single image. This is what Waking Titan does to us, guys. This is how crazy it gets when we see stuff and we just want to break everything down like that. And of course, we could be way off. It could, somewhat like those people could be right. It could turn out that these are some weird little land speeder things, even though I personally don't think that fits. Or this could be something, these could just be new freighter designs. It could be as simple as that. It could be not really any major change other than they're overhauling the freighter designs, which, to be fair, looking at these would be cool as Yeah. So there's a couple of other things I just want to very briefly touch on. It was mostly I wanted to get these images out. I wanted to show you guys that we are getting features teased through Waking Titan, so make sure you're still paying attention to it. Don't get too lost in the excitement about the box art and the interview, because we've still got a job to do, guys. We've still got to focus on Waking Titan to unlock more little goodies like this. But yeah, so the other things that I want to talk about, one was just that 2 to 4 player co-op thing. I really want to know what you guys think about that, because at the moment multiplayer is still kind of a bit vague. I think we've been given a lot of information. I think that interview actually told us a lot. You know, when he talked about this being like Star Trek, when he talked about it being like Battlestar, when he was talking about the dogfighting and the large scale space battles, that can't happen if we can only see 3 other people, and that's co-op play, as in they're on our team. Like, that can't happen. We have to be able to see other people. So I genuinely believe that from what we've been told, that's enough to tell us that at a minimum we will be able to party up, squad up with up to 3 other people in a little 4-man team, and we'll be able to work together. And as well as that, we will also be able to see other people, other teams, other squads to have these battles, because you can't have those, you know, you can't have those space battles if the co-op or the multiplayer is only limited to 4 people. It just doesn't make sense. So I think we have been told enough to know that. But yeah, I am still interested to see what you guys think about how the multiplayer is going to work. PvP is another one. Lots of people worried about it. I really do believe that's going to be optional in some sort of way, either a separate mode, or more likely I think there's going to be something like certain systems or areas of space that are hostile or like PvP enabled, like the wilderness back in RuneScape in the good old days. You know, like we've got the scanners in our ships. Like the way I would see that working, it sounds really simple to me. It seems like it'd be something that's easy to do, and it kind of works for everyone, because you've got the choice to either go to somewhere you can fight other players or don't. So you get the best of both worlds. If you don't want to do any of that, you don't have to. If you do want to do it, go to these systems. And the way that would work, you go to your galactic map, and there'd be a clear indication when you do a scan, this system or this system is hostile or PvP enabled or whatever, or is a no rule zone or something like that. And then other systems would be like, no, this is a controlled zone, no combat with other players here. So yeah, that's my thoughts on all of this. Obviously, I'm super excited. You can probably tell my videos are getting more and more rambly, because the more excited I get, the more I want to talk, and the more difficult it is to like put my thoughts together in a cohesive line of thought and speech. But hopefully you are enjoying all of this as much as I am, because I am just, I can't believe how much fun I'm having at the moment. Before this is even out, I'm just so excited for everything that's going to come to us. But there is one more thing that I very briefly want to chuck in here, that I very briefly want to mention for those of you that might have missed it. And that is Greg Buchanan. So for those of you that don't know, Greg Buchanan is a contract writer. You know, he writes video game content, stories, all of that kind of stuff. And he worked on the Atlas Rises story. So that was all of his work. So that story, that lore, all of that cool stuff that we got with the Artemis storyline, that was all written by Greg Buchanan. He doesn't work full-time for Hello Games. It was a contract assignment from what I understand, and we kind of thought that he'd left there and he's been doing other stuff, and he's definitely doing freelance work at the moment as well. But he had previously had No Man's Sky Atlas Rises in his bio in terms of what he's worked on, and since all of this announcement stuff has happened about Next, he changed that to just No Man's Sky. So he took out the Atlas Rises bit, and he did also for a short time have the new No Man's Sky Next box art as his cover image on Twitter, as his like Twitter header. So he changed his image to the No Man's Sky picture, and he took out the Atlas Rises specific bit from his Twitter bio. I found that really interesting, because like when I saw that, when I heard about that, I was thinking, hold on, does that mean he's been working on the next update as well? Because if that is the case, it means we're definitely going to be getting a whole shed load of new lore stuff added in, as well as the multiplayer and anything else they bring. And that is one of my big theories from like way before any of these announcements. One of my main predictions was they had chosen the Atlas symbol as the next logo on the No Man's Sky page, and they always put the image there that's going to be like one of the big features that's in the game. So we had the portals, the exocraft, and now they've chosen the Atlas symbol for Next. So I always thought that story and lore was going to be a big part of this update, and seeing this on Twitter has definitely got me thinking, yeah, it seems like Greg might be back there working on this update, or he has been working on this update, at least even if he's only been doing it like part-time or something like that. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about that? It could be nothing. It could be just him simply appreciating the update, and like, you know, giving a little shout out by changing his profile picture, his Twitter header picture to it for a while. It might not be that he's actually there working on this, but that's certainly what I first thought when I saw this. So that's just interesting. I wanted to throw that out there. Don't take it too seriously. Don't read too much into it. But it could well be the case that Greg is back there, or has been back there, working on the next update, which would mean we're getting a whole load more lore and story when next drops, which is pretty exciting too. I did tweet him. I tweeted him just saying, so we can expect a whole load more excellent storytelling in the next update. He hasn't replied to that yet, so I don't expect him to. I don't think he'd either confirm or deny until the next update drops. But if he does, I will let you know. And that's about it for this video, guys. Wow. Like, everything is just crazy at the moment, and I'm not expecting it to slow down. So make sure you're staying tuned here and paying attention to what's going on Twitter and eTark and Reddit and the Waking Titan and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I'll be bringing you more updates as they come out. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you've enjoyed that. I know, once again, I've rambled far too much. But like, I think people enjoy like delving into this stuff with me and talking about it as much as I do. I hope so in any case. And if not, then I just hope you got a little bit of interesting information out of it that maybe you hadn't seen yet. But yeah, if you did enjoy it, please do drop a like and a comment. I have also created a Patreon now, so I don't expect it, but if anybody does want to go the extra step in supporting me in the dream, you can find the link for that in the description of this video. That was quite a scary move for me, because for a long time I've kind of been telling myself that this was never going to go far, you know. I kind of was doing this just because it was fun, and because of that I've been kind of downplaying my expectation and telling myself that it will never be more than just a hobby. And I've kind of started to realize recently that I would love it to be more than just a hobby, and if I'm ever going to do that, then I need to like properly throw myself into it. So that's why I've made the Patreon. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but one day maybe just maybe that dream could come true with a bit of support. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Don't feel obligated. Just watching my content and supporting me and talking to me and stuff like that is more than enough. But if you do want to support me, there is now a way to do that. Alright guys, that's it for this one. I'll catch you in the next one very soon. Take care of yourselves, and peace.